Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Sharice Johnson Moore here. And it is time for Author's Excerpt Sunday. Author's Excerpt Sunday, right, is a program that is for authors. I produced this show for the sole reason of giving authors exposure along with myself. But I was thinking, I first started, writing in my first book and, my first book, and Coming to Loving Yourself. And I was thinking about all the ways I could give my own self exposure for my book and for other writers, other authors. So, God laid this on my heart to create this for other authors, of course. So, because I noticed that it's a lot of people want to interview authors, and they want to, like, okay, I want to interview you and things like that. And some are free and some are not. The interviews, of course. And it is very important for us as authors to get as much exposure as we can. Get as much exposure as we can. If I have not introduced myself, I must regret. Sharice Johnson Moore here, your hope builder, lifting you out of your sorrow by guiding you to see the Christ within through scripture and practical applications. Now, if you are having I really kind of delve into ministry. So I like counseling and I like talking to people. So if you are dealing with drug addiction or abandonment issues or things that have to do with the heart, or all these other issues, these issues that we can have, like depression, anxiety, and of the such, I'm here for you. I am here for you. All right, I'm here to uplift people, uplift their spirits, uplift their souls and their minds. So you can reach out to me through my email. I am Sharice at ShariceNJohnsonMoore.com, or you can reach out to me through my website, www.ShariceNJohnsonMoore.com, and I will be here for you. I love talking to people. I love meeting new people. So let's get into the topic of what is going on today. What's going on today? Okay. If any authors are watching, or you may watch the replay, I want to ask you this question. Okay. How many of you have thought about turning your book into an audiobook? Raise my hand. And how many know that you can form a podcast around your book? It's very simple. It's easy. I for one wanted to create a podcast. I wanted to create an audiobook for my book. And then I started doing my podcast, and I started thinking, I said, oh, okay, maybe I could go ahead and just put the book on my podcast, read the book myself, me being a narrator of my book, and put it on my podcast. So that's one piece of the good news I have for you. I will turn my book into an audio book, and it will be able to be heard on my podcast. Okay, so that's one of the pieces that I'm working on for Author's Excerpts, for my business, my book. Okay, so, and I'm gonna put this out there. If y'all need somebody to narrate your book, get in contact with me. I'll also do that too, voiceover for reading material, voiceover for audiobooks. And the thing is, it is very important that you have If you're a self-published author, it's good to do multiple things with one book. That creates multiple streams of income. Okay. The other surprise I have for you is I have turned my book into a workbook. Yes, I have. I've turned my book. This is just the picture, but I have turned my book into a workbook. So that will be coming out for. I'm gonna leave that surprise. But a workbook is coming out. So be on the lookout for the book being turned into a workbook and the book also being an audio book. So that is the good news I have for you today. Okay, so let's get into some other topics I would like to talk about with authors. Have you ever looked up the list? This has got to do with exposure. I'm always finding ways to give authors information about how they can go about exposure for their books. And this is one thing I found very interesting. The very thing I found interesting was that um, book fails, book fails, right? Book fails. Okay, so, and if you can't find one in your local area, find some authors. Find some authors. Get in contact with local authors that live in your area. Okay, this is the idea. This is the idea. I just came up with this concept because of really, like I want to travel, but I want to kind of do it at home. I live in Uniontown. I'm 45 minutes out of Pittsburgh, and I wanted to do the book fairs. Okay, so check around in your local area for authors or events that are going on that need vendors. That need vendors. It's good to get involved in the vendors, programs like somebody's having like a function and they need vendors for the event. Hello, jump on it. Jump on it. I'm telling you something. And just like people that make T-shirts or they have their other businesses that are like handcrafted art and candle making and candle making and soap making, and they have events all the time. So find or create a book fair in your location where you live at. And this is a thing I call it's being on a budget. Sometimes we have to work the locality of where we at when we are on a budget as authors. And sometimes we can't travel because some of us still have our regular jobs and we still have things to do at home. But we can make time in the short time that we have, that we can get to a place that is local, that we have a local establishment. And and the thing is that it's very important that that this can be done, that this can be accomplished, and also don't forget your local libraries. Don't forget your local libraries, babies. You just call the library and say, okay, do you purchase books? Okay, you tell them, give me your name, your information, title of your book, and the ISBN number, right? And what they can do, you can either because that's how I've maneuvered. That's one. That's one. That's another one we could do. But you got these libraries in your locale. Don't forget your local libraries or bookstores. Okay, so and you can ask the library, can you have a book signing there? You can have a book signing at the, create your own Book fair. That's another way of doing your selling your books. Book fairs. They don't have any in your area. You have the ability to create these things yourself. So you create these things yourself, and sometimes it calls for you to step out on faith to do things on your own. You're not. We get so bogged down sometimes when we're trying to do what everybody else is doing and do this. No, create the events yourself. It's good when you create stuff yourself, because then you know what's in detail of what someone else has experienced if they are sponsoring a book fair or a book signing event. And always keep your ears to the ground when it comes to a local events. Okay. Some other things you can do is um, some other things you can do is ask your pastors at your church. Don't forget, church is essential too. I've asked my pastor, and and they allowed me to have a book signed at my church, and I didn't think it was possible until you open your mouth. The one all they can do is say yes or no. And the thing is you have to get an understanding of, this is your baby. This is your book, and you have control over your book, right? And then you might, if you have an agent, you can suggest that to your agent. Hey, how about I try to go ahead and get a Barnes and Nobles or Goodreads, or or live interview, things like that. Because we see a lot of authors getting exposure on television. And billboards is another one. Billboards is another exposure tactic that is very, very important. It can be very essential for your career. And don't forget, don't forget. Always keep your mind open to having interviews. Everyone is not expensive. Everyone is not going to charge you arm and leg. And I can understand, if you got the money like that, you got, but some are on a budget and some are not, and some have endless financial, income streams of revenue that can foster that can help that. But the ones that are just starting out, new authors, I suggest some of these things for you. You got the church, you got um, bookstores, libraries. You have Barnes and Noble. I remember I did a event at Barnes and Noble, because I called Barnes and Nobles. You call these places. Do not be scared to call and ask them, can you have a book signed, or when is your next Barnes and Noble always has an author night. And they, it's good to be involved with that, because you get to meet other authors, you get to meet other people, and you get to, your book, it's your book, and the thing is that you have to step out on faith with a lot of things that you have to do to create them for yourselves. So I want to say, yes, I'm turning my book into an audiobook, which will be available on my podcast. So you'll be able to listen to that. And you will also be able to, I have created a workbook to go with the book. So that will be coming out soon. So that is my good news for today, child. And, you can also turn your book into courses and classes and, different things of that nature. And it's good to stretch. You have one thing, and you have that one thing, and you put everything into that one thing. Or you can write a multitude of books, or keep writing and keep writing and keep publishing. So to each their own. And I just want to say thanks to everybody for coming in. Thanks everybody for coming in. Thanks for everybody that's coming in. If you have missed this live broadcast, you can watch this replay on my channel LBM TV. which is located on the C1 Media Network Smart TV app. Okay? And you can download that app on Amazon, Fire Stick, Apple, um, Google TV, Android TV, and Roku TV. Okay? So if you have missed this, you can also catch the audio on my podcast, Sharice Johnson Moore's podcast, which can be found. It is available on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Overcast, um, Audible. It is available on Amazon Music. It is available on Pocket Cast, Radio Public. Um, let's see. Okay, I it is available on all the streaming networks. Okay, so I want you to have a blessed day, and I'm not going to keep you for long. And I love you, and I will see you next Sunday for Arthur's Excerpt Sunday. All right, babies. I talk to y'all later. Bye bye. Y'all have a blessed day now.